Oh, I'm glad you're here. I've been needing your advice on something.
What you got for me?
I feel like I'm falling behind in life and I don't know what to do about it.
You know, there's a verse in the Bible that goes, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I spoke like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. And this verse really explains how to never fall behind in life.
What do you mean?
Keeping up or falling behind in life is not about how much money you've got in the bank, the title of your job at work, how many girls you've slept with, things like that. It's about growing as yourself, becoming more and more of who you are meant to be. And the only way to do this is to be willing to stay committed to your own personal growth. And to do that, you have to be willing to give up old ways of thinking, old ways of living, give up things that have run their course so that you can embrace all the new things that are ready to come into your life. You don't want to be the guy who graduated college, but he can't let go of being that frat bro who partied all the time and got drunk and couldn't take his life seriously. Or you don't want to be the guy who's 32 years old and he's still reliving his glory days as a high school football player.
So I can tell if I'm falling behind in life by whether or not I'm trying new things?
Not exactly, although that is part of it, but we all get that feeling when we know that something has run its course. Maybe you have a relationship that it's really just kind of run its course and it's time to grow and evolve and move on to the next part of your life. Or it's a job that maybe that job was really important for you at a time and it gave you independence and a certain amount of money that you had never had, but now at this point in your life it's holding you back and it's time to continue evolving and growing as a person. Yet the thing about this is so often we are not willing to let go of these situations, and this is why we stop growing and start falling behind in life, because we're afraid to let go of these things because we fear the unpredictable. We trust the predictable even if it becomes mundane and uninspiring and it doesn't help us to grow as a person. We trust it more than we trust the unpredictable future that may go really well, but we just aren't that confident in it. And the thing that's funny about this though is that oftentimes because of this, things end up just blowing up in our faces, because once something has run its course in our life, eventually it's time to just move on. And if you're not willing to move on without it, it's gonna move on without you. And life is gonna kind of set itself up so that situations blow up in your face. Either they blow up in your face or you just really start to decay and get stuck in a rut. And this is when you really start to feel like you're just completely falling behind in life. Maybe your life has really just passed you by. That's an experience that a lot of people have when they have midlife crises.
So is this what it's like when it starts to feel like something's just become completely repetitive and you're really not getting anything new out of it and you just don't feel like it's growing anymore?
Yes, maybe in your life you had a great passion for playing sports and you played basketball, for example, and playing basketball taught you how to be confident. It taught you leadership skills. It gave you competitiveness. It showed you how to win and how to work hard at something so that you could get a result. And these are all incredibly valuable things that you need to learn. But now it's time to give up the sport. You've exhausted its value to you, and it's time to take those lessons that you learned from playing basketball and apply them to the next chapters of your life, maybe as a business owner or as a father. And you can feel it in your bones when it's time to move on. You just know it. Yet so often we've invested so much of ourselves into this thing that we're afraid to let go of it, and so we resist that. And so this is how you wind up with the guy whose NBA dreams died 10 years ago, but he's still holding on to them. And so because of that, he's working some low-end job because he never committed to anything else. He didn't want anything to get in the way of his dream. He has no romantic life going on, and he's basically still this like version of himself that was meant to be let go of 10 years ago. And because of that, he really has fallen behind. The mistake that people like this are making is thinking that the important thing is the actual thing they're doing. So in this case, playing basketball, rather than realizing the important thing is the growth that you get out of the thing that you're doing. That's the point of everything that you do. Everything you do in life is not about the thing you're doing. It's about who you become through the doing of that thing.
I just feel like I watch other people succeed though, and they're earning so much more money and they're doing all these things that I want to do, and it makes me feel like I'm falling behind though.
You are making the mistake that I just mentioned. You're thinking that the whole point of this whole thing is about how many dollars you've got in the bank or what kind of car you drive. Everyone starts from different places and everyone has different goals in life. The important part is to continue growing and becoming more of who you're meant to be as a man. You can be rich and famous but end up being stuck and start falling behind because you become consumed by the lifestyle you're living and you can't give it up, and so you never evolve into the next version of yourself. At that point, you're like a musician who made like one really big hit 30 years ago and they're still playing it at every concert and they never evolved. They never made anything new that was good. They never grew into the next version of themselves. They're living off the hype of themselves from 30 years ago. And you may be somebody who has large goals, and that's a really good thing. And the thing is, if you're willing to let go of the parts of yourself that have run their course and continue growing and becoming all you're meant to be, most of that stuff will come about in your life. But that stuff can't be the measuring stick for if you're falling behind in life or if you're being successful or whatever that is that you're kind of comparing yourself to other people with these things. You need to use your own personal growth as the measuring stick. You need to use that feeling within you that tells you I'm right where I need to be, I'm working on the things I need to work on, I'm continuing to grow, and I'm not holding on to anything that's run its course.
Okay, well, what do I need to do to make sure that I stop holding on to these things?
Just look for that feeling and be clear on what it is you're aiming for in life and start doing the things that you find are helping you grow in a meaningful way. The things you're doing that you find meaningful might not always make sense when it comes to your goals, but eventually it will all start to make sense to you. You just got to give it time. And at the same time as you're doing this, you need to become aware of the way you're thinking and the way you're seeing things. And like the Bible verse says, you need to give up childish ways of thinking and move on and become a man. Maybe you've always thought like a victim, and it's time, if you want to grow, for you to start thinking like a winner. Maybe it's time for you to stop complaining about a job you don't like and create the job you want for yourself. Maybe it's time to stop thinking like a loser and decide to get your life together, get in shape, become the man you want to be. When you were 16 years old, you got bullied in high school, and now you're 22 years old and you're still thinking like a 16-year-old with an inferiority complex who doesn't have the confidence to go after the things he wants in life. It's time to give up childish ways of thinking and start thinking like a confident man.
So the key to not falling behind in life then is you need to focus on growing into the man that you're meant to be, taking on new challenges, finding goals that inspire you, staying focused on your path and not worrying about anybody else's, and being willing to let go of the things that have already run their course in your life so that you can open yourself up for the new things that will help you continue to grow and develop.
Exactly.